outpost. I think it was DreaM. It was a brave move, but they're both ready. Let's go.
All right, the countdown has begun. Game number 3, guys, between JonnyREcco and Dignitas DreaM on Belshire Vestige. This plays for first and second place. This is the third map of a best of 3. There's no going back. It all comes down to this.
We're loading in. It is going to get intense. The winner of this gets 250 points. Second place gets 150. Big difference there in the league standings. So, Jorisar, do the honors and introduce these two.
Most certainly, ladies and gentlemen. We are on Belshire Vestige and spawning in the top left position as the blue Protoss player. He represents Team Dignitas. Very delicately poised. Can he pull off one more win and take 2 qualifiers in a row? He is DreaM. His opponent, sporting as the pink fluffy Zerg player in the bottom right-hand corner. He hails from Scotland, one of the UK's strongest players. Can he take his maiden qualifier victory here and go well on his way to getting that ticket for Insomnia 49? We'll find out, because it is O Gaming's JonnyREcco.
Now, game 1 was a bit more JonnyREcco's favour, because DreaM tried to go for a really aggressive one-base play, then expanded, Rico counter-attacked. It was all pretty hairy, but generally Rico was looking quite solid. Game 2, DreaM was like, you know what? I'm just going to try and end this game quick. And DreaM did it. He just crushed Rico, he didn't have a defense in place. Game 3, is DreaM going to go with what worked? Or is he going to try and take it to a bit of a longer game? Personally, I think he'd be better off trying to end it quite quickly, because Rico is such a macro beast.
I completely concur. I mean, this is what we were talking about before the start of the game. I think that DreaM has little reason not to go for an early gameplay, either possibly off one base, but I think more likely off of 2 base. He saw how he caught JonnyREcco off guard in game number 2. There's going to be a little bit of mind games at work here, because JonnyREcco is going to know, hang on a second, I lost to that in game 2. What if he just chooses to do the same thing in game 3? It's completely possible. But I feel like that's just a really solid strategy for DreaM against this opponent.
Yeah, so, as it stands, Rico just coming in, getting a look to see whether the Nexus is down yet with his Overlord, chilling there. Unfortunately, I think our Observer has fallen asleep. He stopped moving the camera, Jorisar. I hope you won't have to wake him up.
No, he's busy chatting to Dogbert to listen to us, unfortunately. So I'm going to blame Dogbert for this. Not a problem. It's okay. He's easily distracted. Wouldn't worry about it. We'll give him some biscuits later. He'll be happy. Mothership Core coming out now for Dignitas DreaM. JonnyREcco in the meantime. He's going to be securing his natural. We'll see the exact timing of that Nexus going down at the natural expansion for DreaM here. And let's see if this spurs him forward to potentially try and take a 3rd base. For now, though, considering that this wasn't a Forge Fast expand, not something you would typically expect.
No, this is all looking pretty good at the moment. To be honest, neither player doing anything that screams, I'm going to try and kill you quite yet. And to be honest, there's not going to be too many indicators of what they're planning on doing for quite a while. It's really just the point is when DreaM chooses to chuck down some tech. Rico going to be very vigilant in terms of scouting out, though, I reckon, this game, because he doesn't want to get caught off guard. And yeah, if he does get caught off guard, as we saw in game 2, he just flat out loses. But yeah, as it stands, DreaM isn't really doing anything aggressive for the moment.
JonnyREcco now, he's going to be going for the same thing that we saw in the previous game so far. He has taken his drones off of gas after starting his Zergling speed here, and he's just going for another round of drones. DreaM, in the meantime, he's going to be going up to gateways number 2 and 3. No real indication of what he's going to be doing with his tech in the long run. He has got 3 workers in each gas in the main base, and this is the sort of time where if DreaM doesn't want to get scouted by JonnyREcco, he really needs to start thinking about positioning a Stalker and a Sentry at the southern part of his main base. We can see the Overlord from JonnyREcco getting ever closer to being able to scout this out, and that's 4 more gateways incoming, so I think DreaM is going to be doing the same thing, and it looks like another 5-gate pressure. Can he prevent the scout from coming off?
Well, Rico does need to identify this pretty damn quick because currently he does not have a Rotoron down or even started. That means he would be trying to defend it only with Lings. Oh, the Stargate was going to get thrown down, but then move back a little further, trying to get out of range of the Overlord vision, but the Overlord does scout it pretty easily. So this just means that Rico may actually get a bit thrown off the mark seeing that Stargate. Is this mind games from DreaM, or is he actually just... Well, it could just flat out be mind games. And there he goes,
yes,
he cancels.
It's canceled. Good call. I was looking at that as well. The Stargate gets canceled. Is it going to get replaced with more gateways? We'll find out in just a bit. Now, crucially, look at these Zerglings from JonnyREcco out across the map. He's being so active right now because he knows if this is going to be a timing attack from DreaM, the one thing he needs out in the middle of the map are forward pylons. There are none out there for him at the moment. Both watchtowers held by JonnyREcco. His Lings are being very, very active. This is exactly what he needs to do. But DreaM, he's now moving out with his army. And there is a probe there as well, so he's going to be able to start getting those pylons down.
Now, Rico saw that. He knows what's coming. 2 Spine Crawlers instantly thrown down. And really what Rico needs to do is get as many units out as possible, as quickly as possible. He's got to hold this off. Game number 2, this annihilated Rico. It is as simple as that. There's no way to pull that punch. The Zerglings, just as you said though, trying to get any proxy pylons. That is the key to this push working. Take them out, no reinforcements, and instantly that push becomes a hell of a lot less scary.
Alright, and now DreaM moving towards a third base, and he's going, well, hang on a second. Actually, the third base is not currently there. A group of Zealots are going to be walking into a bunch of these Lings that are desperately trying to pick apart this pile. Not going to be able to on this occasion, though. And, well, JonnyREcco actually doing a great job stalling for time. Where is the probe? Oh, wow, it's there with 2 pylons next to the third base location. He's being deadly serious about this. Let's see what he does as he gets onto creep, though, because DreaM really wants to think about attacking sooner rather than later, because JonnyREcco is producing nothing but units right now.
Those Spine Crawlers trying to re-burrow, but that does mean there's going to be a couple of moments where they're not going to be poking, and now the Roaches trying to get up the distance as best they can. The Force Field actually preventing the Zealots from closing up onto those Spine Crawlers, allowing them to do some good damage. This is a bit of a problem. We see that the Roaches dealing as much damage as they can. The Spines starting to go down, more reinforcements getting walked in behind. Rico is on the ropes. In terms of supply, we can see that it's tumbling at the moment for both players, but still relatively equal. Rico just Roaches out. That means that it does spike up, but still the push coming in. The Spine Crawler is now down, and well, DreaM, he's still got this push coming.
More Stalkers coming in from DreaM. He's down to 67 supply versus the 88 of Rico right now. And Rico trying to get all his units into the fray. Great force field. Is it going to be enough, though? Good time warp as well coming out from Tic-Tac DreaM. And the drones being pulled from Rico to defend against this. He knows if he holds this, he could be victorious here. This is such a close battle. I feel like Rico is starting to very slowly edge it with these Roaches, but the next warp-in could decide everything. Let's see what DreaM chooses to reinforce with 79 supply to 61, and DreaM is falling back to the pylons.
He needs to be very cautious here. He's done some decent damage, but not enough economical damage yet. Rico looks like he's going to be able to hold here. He's pushing the Roaches forward, but he's got to be so careful not to overextend. That would be disastrous. And now the Roaches are being forced to retreat back, trying to pick up as many units as possible. Rico's still pumping more Roaches behind this, but look at how far forward he's moved. Is this an overcommitment? It very well maybe. The Stalker's dealing good damage, and DreaM is going to be able to continue on with this push.
39 workers versus 37. The supplies are 61 versus 61. It doesn't get any more tense than this. And DreaM, okay, DreaM isn't going for the win here because he has just started a robotics facility back home. So he's put on a lot of pressure, and the next round of Roaches, oh, needs to be careful with that mothership core there. The next round of Roaches, JonnyREcco is going to feel is necessary because DreaM might be coming in with another wave of attacks. But DreaM has gone into full-on macro mode now. He's building those probes 2 at a time, and the robotics facility is half complete. So that's another round of larva that JonnyREcco is not going to be able to make work as excellent force fields. And I think this is... DreaM is squeezing out a little bit of an advantage here simply because of those Roaches he forced out of JonnyREcco. I'm liking the fact that he's backing off here. Very, very cool.
Yeah, I think he could have continued on the pressure, trying to force even more units, but the reason he didn't is because the Mothership Core doesn't have enough energy for a mass recall yet, but as it's getting close to, now DreaM will edge forward again. He's got the option to get back, get out, and if he does do that, then obviously he's safe, he keeps the units up. Conservation of DreaM's units now is the #1 essential thing to him. Rico, if he kills this army, is still going to be in a good spot, because in terms of the drone count, he hasn't lost too many, but he's been forced to make so many units that if he can't deal damage with those, DreaM is definitely ahead. He's ahead by 6 probes as well. And the third for Rico still isn't down.
Yeah, that's actually a massive point. Rico's been on 2 bases for so long, and finally we have upgrades, guys. +1 attack is coming in for DreaM now. Neither side has done any upgrades this game. We've got +1 missile attack for JonnyREcco as well, and DreaM actually getting a little bit supply block because he has a lot of forward pylons out on the map, so I'm glad he's building 4 at a time now to alleviate that situation. He's going to be breaking apart this pylon so he can get back into his natural expansion, and JonnyREcco, he's just been building so many roaches. You're right, Adam. This is a little bit of a tough situation for him.
He's got to deal damage with this now. The drone count is still only at 44. No third base, as I said. It's an equal base situation. Rico has defended without taking many losses, but been forced to make so many units that if he doesn't push in and really deal with DreaM quickly, well, DreaM's just got a better economy. He's got better tech. He's got, I believe, well, he's getting the upgrades down quicker than Rico is, so better upgrades in a moment. Johnny, he's got to make something happen with this many roaches, otherwise they're just wasted supply, and he's going to struggle to take this into the later stages.
You're absolutely correct. These roaches have been on the field for so long now, and they've been taking up that supply, and he hasn't been doing anything with them, specifically because DreaM chose to back off when he was at the third base location. And now DreaM has an immortal with this army composition as well. That's going to make him a lot more effective against potential additional roach play. So let's see if DreaM wants to do another timing here. The Overlord does see that there are 2 immortals with this army. That's going to make JonnyREcco very aware of what's going on.
And he's been pumping Hydras behind this. It's a concern because he's not been droning. He's still at 44 drones. That is a massive problem. Unless he ends the game. He's positioning to end the game. He's got himself supply block, though, losing that Overlord. That is huge because suddenly he can't even pump out units. But Roach Hydra is very good against this composition.
Oh, and a bunch of roaches getting caught out in the middle of the map. They're not what you wanted at this point. We have some stalkers hanging back to try and pick a few more off. There go 2 or 3 of them. Nothing absolutely disastrous. JonnyREcco currently a 160 supply versus the 139 of DreaM. He is still at 44 workers and holding station. You're absolutely right. DreaM, on the other hand, needs to think about taking his third base. He doesn't know that JonnyREcco hasn't been droning, so he doesn't know that he could afford to sit back right now because JonnyREcco's on 44 drones. JonnyREcco's just playing so defensively right now, and I'm actually really worried for DreaM in case JonnyREcco gets a fantastic position.
Yeah, if Rico gets the surround, if he's able to get the Hydralist in a good position, then he can annihilate this force, but it's all going to come down to positioning. Great attack arc there. Look at the units up on the high ground to the right, and the roaches from behind. This is the sort of position that Rico needs. DreaM needs to make sure that he doesn't engage right now. He's picking up units at the back, which is a smart move, but my goodness, DreaM, don't overcommit. Be very cautious. If your army dies here, any advantage that you had in this game is gone. He's picked up the Overlord. That's actually really good. Supply blocking Rico very heavily.
Very heavily indeed. Another Guardian Shield going down. Some great force field to zone out the units on the right, but he needs to back off just a little bit so he can deal with the units on the cliff, I feel. That's going to be where the damage is being done right now. DreaM down to 105 supply, and JonnyREcco at 130. Has DreaM overcommitted here? The Immortal at the front of the army now being targeted down, and could this be a bit too much? JonnyREcco not droning up, focusing on getting that army through, and DreaM perhaps recognizing this a little bit too late here, pushing in and going, actually, I don't think I can take this on anymore.
That was such a ridiculously good hold by Rico. Such a good play by him. I think DreaM actually made a bit of a mistake there. If he just sat back, he had the economical lead. He didn't need to push out. Rico, he got a big opportunity there, and boy did he take it. He's annihilated the army of DreaM, he's ahead in supply, and he's still pumping out more Zerglings and more Hydras. Remember, of course, that even though the robotics facility's down, there is no Robo Bay, no Colossi, and that means no way to effectively deal with this many Hydralisks. And I say this many, there's still only 14. The robotics bay is now trying to come down, but DreaM, he's actually been quite lucky here that Rico isn't just counter-attacking, because I think Rico could have won the game if he moved out then.
I agree entirely. I think that DreaM, when he was moving out initially... So a couple of things are at work here. When DreaM was moving out initially, he should have been taking his third base behind it, and he didn't. I think that's the first thing I wanted to point out. The second is that I think DreaM didn't want to push up the ramp But when he saw how good his force fields were the first time around, you know, when he killed off a bit of the army and managed to segregate them and got a fair bit killed off, I think that persuaded him to try a second time. And when he tried a second time, JonnyREcco just had a little bit better positioning, DreaM's force field just a little bit not quite as good, and because of the massive concave JonnyREcco had, that's actually a big swing in terms of the fight performance. So that's where DreaM lost all of his advantage, and I feel like he didn't have to attack there. On the other hand, Maddles, to be fair to DreaM, how can you possibly know that JonnyREcco hasn't been droning and that he was only on 44? It's a really tough position to be in.
I think the only thing DreaM could have done slightly better was send in, I can't remember if he did, but a hallucinated Phoenix would have been incredibly potent in that situation. Just taking a look at what Rico had out. Because if you see that many units, you know your opponent hasn't droned and you can just sit back. Still though, Rico hasn't droned much. He's only at 50 drones. Compared to the 46 probes, and DreaM is trying to secure up that third as well. The infestation pit, though, dare I say it, is coming down for Rico. Is he going to transition into those swarm posts?
Alright, it may well do, and it looks like this time around he's not going to be cancelling the infestation pit, so we will be seeing that go up, and oh, here we go, a couple of lings out in the middle of the map here, trying to catch these stalkers off guard, might be able to get us around, not going to be trying for it, going around the right-hand side instead of through the Valley of Death, which we've been talking about a little bit earlier on. And he's going to try and attack the third base location Colossus there to try and zap as much of that as possible. JonnyREcco falling back now to the watchtower.
Now, Rico, he has got a very sizable army. In terms of the army supply, it's 117 to 60 of DreaM. But there is that Colossus. There's, sorry, no, still only the second one, he's just getting started now, unfortunately. One Colossus isn't enough to stop this wave of Hydralisks. 25 of them there, 24 Roaches supporting them. But Rico is being very passive, very cautious, getting his hive out. He wants Vipers.
Yeah. He's taking quite a while. This game he's playing very, very defensive. And I almost want to say he's putting himself in a position where he's trying to give DreaM, just like that push-in, it's almost like he wants to give DreaM the opportunity to beat himself, if that makes sense, by attacking in unfavorable conditions. Because JonnyREcco, at the 23-minute mark of this game, guys, has only just gone over 50 workers. It's taken him a long time to get to this point. And he wants to do this because he just wants to macro up and play safe. That's his default setting here. And I feel like both players are kind of in the same mindset. They just want it so much. They're not being aggressive because they don't want to overstep the boundary.
DreaM, of course, as well, wants to be very passive until he gets out those Colossi in a sizable number, because he doesn't want to risk another bad engagement like he had previously, because he did have a massive lead this game, and kind of threw it away a bit by moving in and getting in that awkward position. But now, since Zerglings are trying to stream up, get a look at the Colossi, but with Vipers already coming out, that simply means that, yeah, Abducts are going to be huge. There's no High Templar to get the feedbacks, and of course with the Spire coming out, Corruptors can start hitting the field shortly too as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That Templar Archives would be quite crucial right now for DreaM. Just being able to get those storms down are very, very useful, especially against a Zerg player that gets those Vipers out. It's a lot harder to abduct a High Templar than it is a massive Colossus, guys. Don't need us to tell you that. So let's see if DreaM might be able to hit a timing here before these Vipers become effective. He's moving out now, posturing like he wants to take on around the third base location. I'd like to see him start with small steps and go against the fourth here, as we have a small counterattack coming in from JonnyREcco.
Yeah, this is only a couple of Roaches, but look at the center of the map. This is where the big action's coming down. The Abducts are not getting those Colossi, though. DreaM pulling them back. Smart move, but there goes down one Abduct, but a Viper gets taken out as well. These two Colossi, even though they're not getting killed, they're not actually engaging the fight. Another one goes down. This is looking pretty bad here for DreaMREcco with a great attack arc. He is still coming forward. He's still trying to do a bit more damage. And it looks like DreaM is on the last legs here, down to the 70 supply, under half of that. And of course the Roaches doing such great counter-aggression.
Yeah, I think this might be it for DreaM. He's down to 64 supply versus 147. He hasn't had time to warp in units back at home to deal with the counter-aggression, and now he sees it too late. GG, congratulations, and JonnyREcco by a scoreline of 2-1 in a very close finals takes home the 250 points from the ESET UK Masters Qualifier.